Well, good morning, conservatives for McClendon Chisholm. It's great to be with you today. Happy Sunday. We are thrilled I'm thrilled to be with you today, and we're going to have a rather different show because I think what's great about Sundays is we oftentimes have a little more times have a little more time to do things that we don't ordinarily get to do, and so there's no exception to that. Especially when it comes to the city survey. I think it's very interesting that in the Rockwall Hilarious banner, they did a story on the 3 McClendon Chisholm Council members that are urging residents to participate in the survey. Mac, I need just the single camera. So sorry about that.
Single camera?
Yes. There. And so sorry about that. We're trying to figure out which cameras we're using. But one of the things that's interesting is that there's only 3 members of City Council that are pushing the city survey. And what's interesting as well is that council members Herman Larkin and Jim Bloom and the mayor, Keith Short, all had the opportunity to engage in the survey, create questions for it, participate as much as any other member of the council. But from the beginning of this effort, they chose not to participate. Then when council member Balcom said, okay, we're ready to launch the survey, that's when Herman Larkin started to make a fuss about, wait a minute, we haven't had the opportunity to engage in this, which is a complete distortion of the truth. There's nothing true about that. It is an empirical, irrefutable, and incontrovertible fact that every member of the council and the mayor had the opportunity to engage. They chose not to, and now they are on an all-out effort to stop this survey from going on. Lorna Kippett, William Dahl, Trudy Wassner, all 3 of them running for city council, are urging citizens not to take the survey. And that's a real question for me. I have a real problem with that. Fundamentally, because why would you do that if you really believed in listening to the people, and especially after every member of the council, even the mayor, had the opportunity to engage, to participate, to add questions, but they didn't, because the answer to me is obvious. This is a political game they're playing. That's what they're trying to do. They are trying to take back control, the majority vote on the council, and all they need is 1 vote so that they can move forward their agendas to turn McClendon Chisholm into the Highland Park of Rockwall County, or if you're in the case of Jim Bloom, the Frisco of Rockwall County. I appreciate council members Balcom, Turnbull, and Herron for standing up and saying, look, this is important. We want to hear from the people. And so what I thought we need to do is, if you're one of those who is wondering whether or not this survey is valid, whether or not it's politically driven or motivated, I'm going to do my survey right here on the camera before you. And before I do, I want to just say a couple of things about when I created the citizen survey. It was intended to do a couple of things. Number one, it was intended to allow a 2-sided conversation between the elected government and the people. The survey is designed by the council so that they can find out what's important to the people. And I hear a lot of people saying, well, the citizens should be engaged and they should have a role in creating the survey, which makes no sense. The elected body, these are the people who are needing to ask the questions. These are the people who are needing to communicate. And it makes no sense for citizens to be the ones to make and create the questions. That doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't mean that citizens cannot engage. In fact, the last survey that I did, the Rockwall County Open Space Alliance had requested that we add a question specifically for that organization. It's an organization my wife and I support. Of course, I said yes. And the council had no problem with adding that question as well. It doesn't mean that citizens don't contribute questions, because in the last survey and then the first survey, there were several citizens who requested or talked about, here are some questions that might be good to be included in the survey. And in fact, they were great ideas. The very first survey, we even had more of a town hall type of engagement where citizens did get to engage with the council as we were kind of finalizing that survey, which happened to be on election night when Donald Trump was elected president. As a conservative Republican, I did not want to go home that night. I was sure that Hillary Clinton was going to be our next president. And so we had no problem. None of us had no problem being at a city council meeting on election night. So, but all that said, we have had participation from citizens. And that first survey, again, I'll put a link to that first survey, the results of that, so that you can also get a sense of why we do a survey rather than a poll, how it's more valid than a quote unquote scientific survey. And it's interesting because, like I was just referring to, there's not a news network in the world that predicted that Donald Trump was going to win that election. Why? Because all of the polls reported falsely what was really happening. The reason for that, and I talk about it, I explain it in that survey results from that first survey, is because a lot of people were afraid really to say what they really thought. That's the great thing about a survey like this. It can be anonymous. If you'll also notice, over the last couple of years, over the last couple of surveys, if you go through the data and look at all the comments, you'll see that whenever I add a comment, I actually put my name, because I wanted citizens to understand, here's where I stand. I'm not trying to hide my identity. I want people to know where I stand. So that's why doing the survey with you here is so important. The other reason we do a survey is so we can communicate with citizens, so that citizens can have an understanding about what's going on in government, in the city government, and provide you with information that you probably are not getting on social media, most certainly, and certainly the Rockwall Hilarious banner. Just the fact that I'm not even going to go there with the banner. I've had enough of fake news. But bottom line, when I was mayor, when I was on city council, when I was mayor, we made a concerted effort to keep it cost effective. And in fact, ironically, I looked in here and I think Adrian Balcom or Scott Turnbull or one of them talked about the cost of this, which was, I think, half of what it cost when I was doing it. So, which is pretty amazing because the cost that we were doing it for, which is around $4,000. It's $1,976. I mean, that's half of what we used to do it for. The $4,000 that we spent, that was all doing it in-house. And you got to compare that to, remember back when Gary Moody was mayor, when they hired a spin doctor with a Washington, D.C. pedigree to write 2 letters to citizens explaining why it was absolutely necessary to increase your taxes from 9 cents to 32 cents, and basically was 2 letters. Each one of them cost $4,000, and there was no way to respond. These surveys are a lot less expensive, and they provide you the opportunity to hear from the council and to give your feedback. And I think I've not seen the survey. Yes, that's true. I've not seen the survey, and I didn't participate in it. Adrian and Balcom and Scott Turnbull and the city secretary did a good job. The only thing I would say, if they're listening to us, is one of the things that on the URID number, The problem is you're using letters that I wouldn't use. S, for instance, the letter S, and the typeface should be courier for the URID number. And there's a reason for that, because if you do put a letter in there that's like an L or an S, it makes it much easier to identify that that's an L or an S and a capital or lowercase letter. So I got in first time. I could tell it looked like it was a 257956, but it was actually 2S79S6. So as part of my URID number. So unique respondent ID number is what URID stands for. So why don't we dig in and let's look at the survey. So I got in this morning and didn't have any problem. And it starts basically with the standard welcome and what the purpose of it is. You can do understand that, and this happened in the first survey, which it was something that I was not aware of, but the city, I was planning to just publish the responses as they were written. So if people said something defamatory, I didn't really. I mean, that's what people say. Our city attorney said, "Wait a minute, you really do have to take those things out because the city can be liable, those types of things." So if you want to save your city money and you want to say something defamatory against Councilmember Balcom, Turnbull, or me or candidate Day, just go on the FU McLennan Chisholm site. They do it all the time. You're more than welcome. That's a group that has absolutely no compass. And also the friends and families of McLennan Chisholm is, I think, what they call it now. But if you're on one of those groups, you already know that. And I can't imagine why anyone would participate in either one of those groups. But do understand that they have to take off any defamatory language. If you're speaking about someone, they're going to have to take that out. So if you name someone by name, they'll take it out. That's basically for the city's protection. If you can't do this online, you can get a hard copy of the survey. And so here we go. Now, about me, if in the U.S., I'm from Texas. And how long have you lived or owned property in McLennan Chisholm? 5 to 10 years. Where did you live before moving to McLennan Chisholm? I am from the Dallas area. We lived in White Rock Lake area for 18 years, the same house. We don't miss it, I'll tell you. We love McLennan Chisholm. How many homes are located on private roads, many homes are located on private roads, and it is the responsibility of the property owners to maintain their own roads. We are a general law type A municipality that has exclusive control over its streets. The city cannot use public funds for any private purpose, such as maintaining privately owned roads. Now, this is an issue for some citizens. And those of you who are in Sonoma Verde, guess what? You are paying for your own roads. The maintenance of your roads, you're paying for it. That's that second portion of your PID. Those of you in Sonoma Verde, you really should pay attention to this. And I'm going to be doing an entire show just for the people of Sonoma Verde to explain to you why conservatives like me, Adrian Balcom, Scott Turnbull, and David Day are your best friends. Are your best friends, because there is an effort to get those in the unincorporated areas to be annexed into our city at some point. And you've got to remember, you got to understand that, guess what? If we do that, we have to take over their streets and roads. You're going to be double taxed. That you can't get away from that. You can't avoid that. And I'll talk more about that later. But understand, those of you, I live in Quail Creek. We had to do a special assessment to repair our streets. Every subdivision in the city is like that. And it's a sad thing, because there's some, like I said, you can't fix stupid. There's some people who don't really care about repairing the streets. They always think it's about that it's someone else's responsibility. Well, listen, you're in McLennan Chisholm. Unless you're in Sonoma Verde, where those streets have a PID, you're responsible for your streets and roads. Okay, so did you know that residential subdivisions that consist of 10 or more lots shall have a homeowners association that shall be responsible for perpetual maintenance and upkeep of all landscaped areas? You know, I actually didn't know that. This is news to me, so I didn't know that was an actual ordinance and I know that we reviewed all of those all of the ordinances, but that isn't one that I recall when we were going through the review. But that makes sense, I guess, that you have to have an HOA, and obviously for the protection of homeowners. So I'm going to put no, because I did not know that, and I'd rather be honest than try and say something that's not true. Okay, communications. How do you stay informed about city news or local government information? The city website, well, it used to be. Actually, not anymore. But I'll put sometimes, because sometimes there is information. But since Adrienne Balcom has been removed as the head of communications for the city, she's a volunteer. She's a member of city council, and because people have differing views on her political stands, on her conservatism toward our city, they don't want her to be a part of it. That's why the mayor took her off of that, which is a shame. City Facebook page? No, I don't. Nextdoor.com? No, that's not where I get my information for the city, nor should you. No, and no social media site. That shouldn't be where you get it. Neighborhood Facebook page? No. Directly from the mayor, council members? Yes. Very often. Not every day. I don't talk to them every day. Directly from city administration staff? Nope, never. Directly from friends and neighbors? Sometimes. Rockwall Herald banner? Sometimes. Blue Ribbon News? Sometimes. City email notifications? Used to. That was great when Adrienne was putting those things out. And so I can't say city email notifications. I have to say, I mean, if they had Adrienne Balcom's notification, I'd put yes, but they don't. So I'm going to say never. City council meetings? No, I don't attend them, and I can't watch them online like you used to do when I was mayor. City newsletter, printed mailer? Not since I've been mayor or left office. I don't recall seeing one. Citizen survey? Yes, definitely. And the Dallas Morning News, really, no, never. So as far as communications goes, I also wanted to point out, while I'm waiting on this to go through, that when I was mayor, I eliminated the 3-minute rule on citizen comments. Any citizen could speak for as long as they wanted for whatever they wanted to talk about. I didn't limit that. Why? Because I actually believe in free speech and the First Amendment. And the problem that people had with me is I'll let you say whatever you want to say, but I don't have to sit there and act like, oh, well, great, I'm a real jerk. Okay, thank you. No, I'm not going to say that. If people say stupid things, I'm going to look at people and go, what are you kidding? We had one guy stand up and say that and criticize me as mayor, the head of the emergency management effort for the city. I said, again, sorry about that. I'm watching it. Did it again. And I had put in that newsletter that an emphasis on your smoke detectors, making sure that those batteries are up to date, because that saves lives. I did a story about that, and it's actually the guy who is the founder and the creator of the FU McLennan Chisholm page. We talked about him last time. He's a deadbeat dad, what we call in Texas a scumbag. This guy stood up and said that smoke detectors don't save lives. That most of them are don't work properly. That there's been this big recall. So it's stupid for me to have told citizens to do that. And I looked at Wayne Orchard. I said, "Are you kidding me?" That's when, and moments after that, the candidate Keith Short gets up and berates me for rolling my eyes at citizens. Who wouldn't roll their eyes at stupidity like that? But apparently Keith Short, because Scumbag was not just a supporter of his, but also a donor to his campaign. But that's what you get. Which annual City of McLennan Chisholm City Survey have you participated in? Well, that's all of them. What do you believe McLennan Chisholm should be promoted, marketed, advertised for? Well, the natural wide open spaces, the rural lifestyle, diverse residential homes, strongly support. I'm strongly supporting, I hope you can read all of this. I'm strongly supporting all of these. Low municipal tax rate, 1.5 acre or larger lot sizes, and a great place to raise a family. Notice that there's comments sections here, and this is where you can add your 2 cents. So you're not just limited to what the standard answers are. And that's the importance of a survey like this, because it provides some structure and some perspective on why people are answering the way they are. I wish that they had a comment section on, well, I guess they did. That was the communication one. But regardless, that if you're watching this, then you're seeing what I'm saying. So below is the estimated population and municipal property tax rates of all cities inside Rockwall County. So I'm going to go from top. I'm going to go. Rowlett has a 75-cent tax rate. The next highest is Royce City with 62. They're going to get the Buc-ee's in. Of course, that the deal for that Buc-ee's is they don't get any tax revenue off of that for a long time. But that's what some city leaders think is a good idea. Rockwall is 40 cents. Heath is 38 or 39 cents, basically, and Fate is 27 cents. We are 15 cents. It's pretty good. For the purpose of this survey, please select the option that best applies to your current residence within the city limits. We do own our home. Yeah, so I hope you're already seeing that some of this is just basically standard get to know you bio type of questions, so that the city can get a good idea of things. And one of the things I want to talk about in an upcoming show, and I need to talk about, I need to write this down so I don't forget, but the newspapers. The reason and basically we are subsidizing dying industries, and I'd like to know why the state legislature is not doing something about it. So I'll talk about that. And when I had planned, if I had been mayor, to lobby the state legislature about it, and we'll talk about that later. So an on-site sewage facility, OSSF, or more commonly septic systems, are underground systems used to capture and treat wastewater, such as standard septic systems, aerobic systems, and low-pressure dosing systems. The minimum lot size in McLennan Chisholm on which an OSSF may be installed is 1 acre. Did you know that OSSFs are the most common in rural areas, and after the initial 2-year maintenance service policy required by state law, the owner of an OSSF for a single residence may maintain the system personally or obtain a new maintenance contract? You're welcome. But yes, I did know that, and we got rid of that mandate that you had to have a maintenance contract, where the city got well, not the city, but a vendor that the city had contracted with got a little taste of helping to maintain that. If you watch the last show, you understand what I'm talking about. All right, school facility development. We invited the Rockwall Independent School District to share their process to determine necessity of another facility. Rockwall ISD considers possible construction of any new campus based on the following variables: projected student enrollment, campus facility use, campus enrollments, land availability, any necessary bond funding. These variables can change, and therefore the district evaluates them annually. Before this survey, were you aware on September 18, 2018, that the City Council approved ordinance, a specific use permit to allow Providence Academy, a university school model serving kindergarten through 8th grade, to extend operations at the Chisholm Baptist Church? And my answer to that is no, I did not know that. Have no problem with that. But see, again, this is an opportunity for the City Council to inform you about what's going on in the community so that you are an informed voter. This, by the way, is one of the reasons why the left does not want you to take this survey, because an informed voter is the greatest threat to liberalism. Let's keep moving on. On November 26, 2018, the City Council approved an ordinance approving release of excess capacity of wastewater line between Sonoma Verde and Buffalo Creek Interceptor to Rockwall Independent School District for a planned school site off FM 550 between the City Hall and Chisholm Crossing Phase 4. And no, I did not know that. Let's see. Is it asking me that? On November, the approved for a planned school... Okay, so I think what it's asking is, did you know, basically? So I'm saying, no, I didn't know that. I didn't know about, and this is specifically to the capacity, basically giving the city or the RISD the ability to basically tap into the system that Sonoma Verde uses for its sewer system. They don't use, obviously, a septic. Okay, RISD plans to build a middle school off FM 550 next to McLennan Chisholm City Hall property. Yes, I was aware of that. All right, RISD plans to build an elementary school located off of Via Toscana in the heart of Sonoma Verde. Yes, I knew that. All right, so I'm gonna give just a 1 point, and that is I think you could put more questions on a page, and I'm not sure why each question is on a separate page, but I can be critical about anything. It doesn't matter. RISD owns property located on State Highway 205 south of Klutz Road, next to the McLennan Chisholm Fire Rescue Station. Yes, I was aware of that. And that was part of some of the things that we were kind of focused on with the new fire department when I was in office. All of that obviously has been scuttled. McLennan Chisholm Business Development. For the purpose of this survey, please select the option that best applies to your current business property within the city limits of McLennan Chisholm. Information collected will appear as percentages. I own. That question was already asked, I thought, but... Oh, current business property. Oh, it's not applicable. All right. I see. Sorry about that. All right. Where would you like future businesses to be located within our city limits? Contained inside a centralized business district, allowed anywhere along the entire frontage, contained along a centralized portion of frontage of State Highway 205, allowed anywhere along the entire frontage of 550, contained along a centralized portion of frontage of FM 550 near the City Hall. Doesn't matter to me. I have no opinion. Other, this one is for me and other. This will depend on the plan that is being proposed. This is a hard one to answer because right now, if you look along 205, when they created the comprehensive city plan, it is an enormous portion of 205 that is part of a business district. And since the citizens have been focused on preserving our wide open spaces, we really wanted to focus and keep as much of it residential as possible. So I would recommend, or I'm just saying I'm going to wait and see what exactly is being proposed before I can say this. And I'll add my name, Robert Steinhagen, so that when they look at it, they know that it's me, so that they can just, especially if, those in office, if Kippett, Wassner and Dahl get elected, they're not going to look at this stuff, so it doesn't matter. But if conservatives win out, then yeah, it'd be good for you to know that I said it, so you can take it with a grain of salt if you want. With advent of direct-to-home grocery delivery service such as Amazon, Kroger, Walmart, and expected fall 2019 19 opening of the Tom Thumb store at FM 550 and 740. All right, so with that information in mind, what is your opinion regarding the necessity of a grocery store located in McLennan Chisholm? It is absolutely not a necessity. Do you know who wants a grocery store more than anyone? Are those people who live outside of our city, those in High Point Ranch, High Point Lake Estates. They want businesses to come into McLennan Chisholm, and they want you to pay for it because it's inconvenient for them. Those of us who live in McLennan Chisholm, we moved here because of the open spaces, and that we have businesses just a stone's throw away in Rockwall. So it's crazy to have a grocery store. Do you use a grocery delivery service? Well, my wife's on Amazon all the time. Some of our groceries are delivered, actually. I remember we just got some certain kind of Coke that she likes, Coca-Cola. So yes, I would say yes. If you selected yes, you use a grocery delivery service and wish to provide additional information, please select all that may apply. So Amazon.com and yes, Walmart, Instacart, Kroger, Tom Thumb, other, So and Target, we get from Target as well. So, and this is interesting, by the way, folks, because this is revenue. This is taxable revenue for the city of McLennan-Chisholm. When you go shop in Rockwall gets that tax. If you shop in McLennan-Chisholm, Amazon has to give a portion of that to the city of McLennan-Chisholm. Do you know who figured that one out? That's Adrian Balcom, Scott Turnbull. They figured that out. They've been on the hunt on this issue. You know who didn't figure that out? Keith Short, Herman Larkin, and Jim Bloom. Do you use a grocery pickup fulfillment service? Yes, and that's at Target. We use the Rockwall Target. We like the fast pickup at Target on Ridge Road. I don't know if you've ever used it. It's very efficient. All right. Do you use any of these services? Delivery service, same-day courier, or transportation services? Yes. And if answered yes, you use a delivery service, same-day courier, transportation services in which to provide additional information. Please select how often on average you utilize this. Probably weekly. My business in consulting, I am using that kind of service a lot. Do you use ingredients and recipe meal kit service? Yes, we do. My daughter and I, we do Home Chef. Home Chef. We used to do HelloFresh, and it's awesome. We have fun making dinners together. It makes me feel like a real cook. If you answered yes, you use an ingredient and recipe meal kit service in which to provide additional information. How often on average? We do it weekly, pretty much. We're holding back these last couple of weeks because our daughter has got a lot of activities going on. So, all right. Would you prefer locally owned shops, restaurants, and other professional services within the city limits of McLennan-Chisholm rather than retail chains? Absolutely yes. These retail shops. I mean, think about where we're going as a society, how much we're getting online, and many of these the shops that you see everywhere, these national chains, they're basically starting to go out of business little by little. I think the economic development plan for this city has got to be very cognizant of the reality of the changing nature of business and trade. And so we've got to be very careful about how we move forward. I would not want to see a McDonald's, for instance, or Great Clips in McLennan-Chisholm. I'd like to see Judy's Salon or something like that. Something that makes us unique. Where should McLennan-Chisholm focus its efforts regarding city regulation, ordinances, resolutions, and safety concern? Animal control services. I'm undecided. Assistant Academy volunteer and fire and EMS. I don't get that one because when I was mayor, my goal was to have an all volunteer fire department. Let me put it this way: was to have a fire department where we brought in volunteers who were paid from professional firefighters from Dallas, from the surrounding areas, people who are paid firefighters, and we pay them what we're paying basically now to the current volunteer firefighters. They're professional. They're now professional, I guess, firefighters. And it's by the way, it's in the State of the City address, and I detail what my thinking is behind that. But the reason why is because we don't have to pay benefits. Plus, we get people who are highly experienced in firefighting that we don't get now. So this is if we did go in the direction that I was talking about, then yes. If not, then no. So I'm just going to say unsure, undecided. Code enforcement officer, yes, I would strongly support that. Controlled central business district, I would support that. Improving commercial zoning areas. Improving commercial, I'm not sure what they mean by improving commercial zoning areas. I'm going to say unsure, undecided. Incorporate an economic development board. I'm not sure what they mean by incorporate an economic development board. That whenever you have economic development in cities, this is the door, the gate that opens up the opportunity for corruption. And I would hope that we would be very cognizant that the people who are on this economic development board are the people who are conservatives who want to preserve our wide open spaces, and not the people who don't care, not the Jim Blooms. The last person I would ever want to see on an economic development board would be Councilmember Jim Frisco Bloom. He happens to be the chairman of the Economic Development Board. Local, state, and use tax exemption on telecommunication services. Yeah, I'm always for tax exemptions. Local sales and use tax exemption on telecommunication services. I'm not real sure I understand enough about that, and I wish there was some more explanation on that. So I'm going to say no. Outdoor warning sirens. I'm going to say I will support, not strongly, but I do support it. Now, you know what? I used to support it, but the problem is, and this is what I learned as mayor, is that the purpose of these outdoor systems is is to notify people when they're outside. You know what? I'll support it, but I'm not sure how many people it's really going to help and protect. The best system is your phone. To have that system linked up to your phone, that's what's going to really make a difference for you. But if the city wanted to do that, and I know Wayne Orchard, he really was big on that, and I supported it. And in the last survey, the citizens overwhelmingly said they supported it. So yeah, I'll support that. Partnership programs for victims of abuse. Sure, I'll support that. Permits for solicitation. Yes, definitely. And by the way, we do have that, I think, that you do have to have a permit to solicit in McLean and Chisholm, and I think that is thanks to Adrian Balcom, if I'm not mistaken. Permit fees for temporary outdoor signage. Yes, I would agree with that. Not political, by the way. Political signage is exempt from according to state law. I know enough about that law. So, yeah, I would say temporary outdoor signage should have some kind of a permit and a fee associated with it. Providing city grants to national night out events. No, I would definitely not support that. Rockwall County EMS hosted safety workshop. Absolutely. The best preventative of anything is yourself. If you want to protect your home, you need to have a gun. You need to make sure that you. I strongly encourage people to get their CDLs or their right, exercise their right under the Second Amendment. And but I'm a conservative, so what do you expect? Senior adult engagement and safety programs. Yeah, that's a great idea. I never thought about that one. Noise nuisance. Yeah, I would support that. There are some noise nuisance. That's the problem with that is that I'll support it, but the noise nuisance issue is something that really it goes along with you can't fix stupid. So if you have a noise nuisance, some kind of, at least what it does is it gives law enforcement something to say, hey, you really need to keep it down. And there's, unless you have something like that, actually, so I'm going to say, yes, I strongly support it. Unless you have something like that, the law enforcement can't do a thing about it. So those of you who are frustrated with loud parties and things like that, you really don't have a lot to protect you. How do you feel about the 2018 city regulations, ordinances, administration, health, and safety concerns? City administrator, city secretary appointment. The appointment of the city secretary administrator, I support her. Lisa is someone that I was I was on the city council when we hired her. She's done a great job. As far as I know, while I was there, she was very balanced and fair. So as far as I know, that's good. The city-owned McLennan Chisholm Fire Rescue Department, I strongly support it. I wish we hadn't had to do it, but we didn't have a choice, but we did, and I hope we move forward now. Community events, coffee chats, Veterans Memorial Day, Christmas tree lighting, strongly support those things. Fire chief, fire marshal appointment, I support it. I'm not sure that in retrospect, I'm not as enthusiastic about who we hired, but I do support having the fire chief, fire marshal. Health and pool inspector, yes, strongly support. We've had inspections like this for a long time, and I love the gal that does it. She's an Aggie and is a fireball. If you've ever come across her, she's incredible. Limiting construction times to Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Thank you, Adrian Balcom. Again, great decision on that, especially those of you who live in Sonoma Verde. I'm sure you especially appreciate that. Municipal court, strongly support. RCEMS Stop the Bleed and CPR workshop. Well, I really support that since I'm the one who started those. Repair and maintenance of city-owned roads. Yeah, I mean, what are we going to do? I support it, and I'll talk about that, how that came to be. We only have about 3 miles of city roads to begin with, but I'll talk about that. Safer Grant, 3-year federal funding, 24/7, 365 personnel. I strongly support that at this point. Updated master fee schedule, definitely support that. Thank you, Scott Turnbull, for that work. Veterans Memorial Brick Campaign, I don't support it. Not now. Not the way Herman Larkin and Jim Bloom and Keith Short have hijacked this effort. The purpose of the Brick Campaign was to raise funds for the memorial so that taxpayers would not have to foot the bill. They have now changed it, or they're trying to change it into what it was never designed to be. And that's just basically honor ourselves. I have more to say about that. And in fact, I think the couple that gave the donation for the memorial, they have something to say about it too. And you might just hear from them. By the way, they happen not to be veterans. They honor those who have served, though. And the Veterans Memorial Monument on City Hall property, I'm going to strongly support. You know, on the Veterans Memorial Brick Campaign, I'm going to say unsure, undecided, because right now I support it the way it is currently, but I don't support the way they're trying to move it. So that's why I'm going to say I'm going to be unsure and undecided. All right. How are we doing? We're 66% through. All the new city ordinances and resolution enacted in 2018 either placed limits on city government, which is good, protected citizens from outside nuisances, or freed citizens from unnecessary regulations. That's absolutely true. And this is what the liberal left does not want you to know. By checking off the box below, you are indicating that you were aware. If you're not aware, please leave the box unchecked that you were not aware. On February 27th, the council passed authorizing actions for establishing the fire department to take necessary and approve any necessary actions and approve all filings necessary for establishing a city-owned operating department to be regulated by the state, the TCFP, basically. On March 13, 2018, a modified all-volunteer contract similar to Rockwell County's contract with the amount of 1/3 was offered to MCVFD. I'm aware of that. This is whether I'm aware. Yes, okay. On March 27, 2018, the City Council approved adopting a rate schedule for Atmos Energy, which is an annual interim rate adjustment. This happens very periodically, and there's really not a lot that the city can do about it. But yeah, I was aware of that. The Chapter 380 agreement with Highland Homes, who are expected to build homes over the next 10 years. This allows them to purchase building supplies using Texas Direct Payment Permit, which will generate local use tax revenue for the city that would not otherwise be available, and an agreement to provide an economic development grant to Highland Homes. You're welcome. That helps the city. This was when I was mayor. On April 10th, 2018, City Council hired a fire marshal, fire service consultant. On April 10th of that same year, the council adopted creating the MCFR. On April 10th, adopting a social media policy which focuses on general use as well as the Facebook page. So before I left office, we basically cleaned house, made sure everything was nice and tidy to make sure that there is no reason that Adrian Balcom couldn't be the head of communications. It doesn't matter to leftists. They don't care. On April 17th, passed authorizing the city administrator to enter into contracts for the purchase of lease of apparatus. Okay, so that's for the fire trucks, fire equipment. And boy, people just love to rail on that. These are the people who are perpetuating more misinformation about all of this stuff. I'm at a loss for why some of these people are doing that. On April 24th, passed to approve letter to support for staffing adequate fire and emergency services, the SAFER grant application. By the way, I want to recognize Scott Turnbull and Chief Simmons and Lisa Palomba and Wayne Orchard, and Adrian Balcom, sorry. All of them worked very hard on this project. And by the way, no kickbacks, nothing. They did it all and without any monetary benefit to them whatsoever. Which is different than from the way it used to be at the volunteer fire department. We'll talk about that. Hired fire chief on April 24th. I was aware. The ordinance adopting a city hall zoning change from plan development to Office 01. I was aware. Adopted to amend the fee schedule for Chapter 3 building regulations to reflect current costs incurred by city. I was aware of that. On June 5th, adopted to create Office of the MC Fire Marshal. Yes, I was aware of that because we were already starting that process. Council directed staff on June 5th to move forward with platting a portion of City Hall property in preparation for a future fire station. I was aware. June 5th, the council authorized MCFR fire chief to negotiate an interim public safety plan to cover June 16th through September 30th for $93,522. I was aware. On June 5th, adopting and approving a master equipment lease purchase agreement. I'm aware of that for $162,500. On June 13th, ratified an agreement with, and by the way, I'm out of office at this. I've been out of office as we go through now. So you've got a new mayor. You've got two very, very strong liberals on your council. So let's just keep going. On June 13th, ratified an agreement with the MCVFD for fire protection services. Yes, I was aware of that. Ridiculous. But on June 19th, the council directed MCFR fire chief to make his highest priority the development of a detailed preliminary budget. His secondary priority was development of a preliminary budget based on possible merger with the MCVFD. And the two chiefs would formally present these items to the council, which they did on July 16th, following the presentation of Chief Murphy of the MCVFD and Chief Simmons. The council directed the Chief Simmons to move ahead, to set up the fire department. So basically, they did that. I'm aware of that. On July 24th, adopted the approval of a special use permits to Providence Academy at Chisholm. We've already heard about that. On July 24th, adopted. The council amended a zoning ordinance, comprehensive land use plan for zoning map for single family district. And this is for approximately plan development on approximately 3.516. Oh yeah, that's just down the road on 205. This is for a winery and wine tasting room with support outdoor deck and barrel room. Now we worked with that couple, and they're a great couple, and this is going to be a neat addition to our city. This wine tasting room. It's going to be unique, and they wanted to do more. They wanted to build out more, but the neighbors didn't want it. And instead of trying to fight their way through it, they just said, "Okay, we won't do it." And that was just awesome. Great people to work with. So I appreciate them. On August 6th, amending Code of Ordinances, exception municipal government building, housing, municipal government operations may be constructed of metal or any other approved material. Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't we? I mean, you got to understand on the zoning, when they approved the comprehensive city plan, I'm talking about Gary Moody, Steve Hatfield, Jack Paul, the usual suspects. They did it right before I came into office. And so they basically created these standards, but they did not ask citizens what they wanted as far as our standards go. So right now, the standards for the city is the same as homeowners. The question is, it's not whether or not the city gets to be the exception to the rule. The question is, do taxpayers want to pay to force the city to build at these massive all brick buildings when they can be better? We can save a lot of money and provide a better structure for the city, a utilitarian purpose, for a lot less money. But that amendment did not pass. And everyone's saying, well, you're violating the ordinance. They're saying that we're hypocrites because we are, as conservatives, want to violate the ordinance. Well, the ordinance was never voted on, not by the people of McLennan Chisholm. And with all of the stuff that I had going on my agenda, that was not very high on the priority list. So that was something that we were going to address if I had stayed in office, but we didn't. So that didn't pass. I knew about that. The Safer Grant Award, I'm aware of that. We got $621,600 in federal funds to start that fire department. On resolution accepting his staff for adequate fire emergency response. Okay, that's the Safer Grant thing. On September 11th, 2018, the annual PID service plan, stipulation that an engineering study be completed prior to the next update to determine if the assessments are appropriate for the next budget year. Yeah, you people in Sonoma Verde, just understand, if you don't have enough money in your management portion of your PID that you pay every month with your mortgage, if there's not enough money in there and a street goes bad in that phase of development, guess who pays for that? You pay for it. So let's say that street repair, you had a water main or a street repair, and it cost, you understand how expensive streets are, concrete is. Let's say that the repair cost $500,000 and there's only $200,000 in the PID account to manage that. Well, guess where the rest of that comes from? From you. And guess when that happens? That happens the next year. It's added to your tax bill in one lump sum. So they divided up everybody within that phase, not entire Sonoma Verde, just within the phase, and then you will pay the entire amount in that next tax year. We're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars. So you do need to be aware what is the reality of what you're dealing with, because the property, the Sonoma Verde roads and infrastructure is a very quality. They did a very quality job. But if something goes wrong, it is very costly. And this is an important thing for them to be looking at. September 26th, approved the fiscal budget. The property tax rate would be 15 cents. And so it wouldn't go up. It would stay the same right where it is. That was the September 26, 2018 budget. So the tax rate is currently 15 cents. The former tax rate was 15 cents. But leftists want you to believe that they raise your taxes. On September 26, 2018, adopted ad valorem taxes for the tax year. 15 cents. Okay, we've already kind of said that. City of McLennan Chisholm offered an agreement with the MCVFD to integrate MCVFD with the MCVFR or the MCFR, and they accepted the agreement on October 9th. October 9th, integrated the MCVFD. On November 21st, real estate property. Okay, so the property on that basically the city gave to the the volunteer fire department has now been redeeded back to the city. Why is that important? And why were we trying so hard to get the fire department to agree to this merger? Was because TxDOT would pay for a new fire station, but not if it's a privately owned. If it's a city-owned fire department, well, then you're talking about the opportunity to really get a true fire department, a true fire station that the state pays for. Otherwise, just the people in McLennan-Chisholm, the city of McLennan-Chisholm, only we pay for it. So that's the difference, and that's why it's so important. Good job. On November 26th, adopted approving an agreement for use of a portion of the reserve future development property capacity in a wastewater line between okay. Oh yeah, we talked about that. So basically the school district's tapping into the system. And then on December 20th, appointment of the city attorney Michael Holla. I'm aware of that. Okay. Whew, that was a big section. As you can see, the city survey is pretty comprehensive. Okay, this is a one-pager. On January 8th, 2019, the Rockwall Commissioners Court voted to request that the 86th legislature grant Rockwall County a second court at law to alleviate the increasing caseload on its current court. State law permits the legislature to establish county courts at law, concurrent trial courts that often share jurisdiction with the county and district courts, and alleviate the caseload of each. The county currently has one county court at law, presided over by Judge Brian Williams. The process entails positioning Rockwall's state legislators, Senator Bob Hall and Representative Justin Holland, to present the matter in the legislative session's judiciary committees. Would you support MC City Hall being offered as a county court annex to Rockwall County? You bet I would. I support to sell or lease the MC City Hall, Rockwall County, to utilize as a county court annex. Absolutely, I would do that. Support to move the MC City Hall to be co-located with the new fire station. Absolutely, I would support that. I mean, this is a boondoggle. The City Hall is a boondoggle. Paid $2.125 million, and they told us what a great deal it was. You know what it's appraised for right now? Go on Rockwall CAD. Look at it. $800,000. This is, if we can find a way to get the state of Texas to pay this back so that we can actually be free from the long-term debt of this boondoggle of a city hall, let's do it. I support to build an affordable city hall. Yeah, but not with the current mayor. And so that's how I would answer those. This is a long survey, comprehensive, but Lorna Kippett says, don't take this survey. This is too politically motivated. You can tell how politically motivated this is, can't you? Based on the TxDOT August 2018 environmental study regarding how the Highway 205 expansion project, certain structures will be removed and widening the highway. So the fire station on 205 will be impacted by the proposed acquisition, that it would be damaged out completely. TxDOT will hire an expert to determine the value of an in-kind replacement of the station. We will be able to relocate the fire station on any municipal-owned property where it will not be impacted by the 205 expansion. TxDOT will pay our city based on their estimate for the cost for an architect, engineer, and the building. Where would you like the new fire station to be built? I would, let's see, municipal-owned property located at McLennan-Chisholm City Hall, Rockwall County EMS Tower property. That's where I would ideally like to see that. And boy, do I have a lot to say about that. I talked a little bit about how that tower got there. They've got those they put that one tower on 3 acres, spent $300,000. And when I tried to propose the idea of, hey, we'll give you a little bit of our city hall property, we'll give you 5 acres, we'll give you 8 acres of the city hall property if you give us just 2 of those acres at the EMS tower, they're not interested. They've got other plans. I'd love to. They don't care about that. And actually, now I've been told that location is actually not ideal. So that's still my preference. If I were still in office, and again, I'm open to the fact that I could be wrong on that. I probably am. I've been wrong before. Are you aware property tax rate is made up of 2 components? The INS, interest and sinking funds, that can only be used to pay down city debt, currently 0.59265 or 0.059. 265, and the M&O, Maintenance and Operation of the City of McLennan Chisholm, which is currently 0.090735. Yes, I was aware of that. That took a lot of our time doing that budget stuff, and thanks to Scott Turnbull, I learned a lot. He's a brilliant finance guy. Are you in favor of maintaining or increasing the INS portion currently 0.09265 of property tax rate to facilitate early redemption of City Hall bonds, saving tens of thousands of dollars in interest? I would be interested in that, and that is if the citizens would agree on that, and that's why a survey like this is so important. Do you want to pay a little bit more in the property tax rate? The problem with this is that once you increase the tax rate, guess what? That increase never goes away. It never goes away. So that's something that's important to note. Let's see. We'll go to the next one.
Am I doing okay?
All right. Community Waste Disposal Service. The new contract with a solid waste garbage service provider, Community Waste Disposal, began January of 2019. The term of this contract shall be for 5 years, beginning January 1st, 2019 through midnight, December 31st, 2023, with successive 5-year renewal terms without further action of either party. I'm just wondering, I know that we had asked a question about how you felt about the trash service, because I knew that would be coming up. And so it's my understanding, based upon talking with council members Balcom, Herron, and Turnbull, that they used the city survey as their decision in helping them to decide whether to stay with or go with a new service, which they did. On a scale of 1 to 4, poor, 1 is 4, 5 excellent, how would you rate Community Waste Disposal Service value? I would say a 4. I think the tubs, I don't like them being smaller. Customer service, I haven't had to deal with them, so I'm going to say 4. New Thursday day of pickup, not a fan. I would prefer Friday, but that's okay. Pickup time is fine. Bulky item pickup is fine. Recycling's fine. Billing, fine. Payment options, fine. Polycarts, don't like them. And reduced rate. We're getting what we pay for. I think that's the one thing that should be highlighted here. That it's a smaller polycart, so yeah, I would expect to pay a little bit less, but may end up paying more because I might actually have to get another can. I don't know. So now that your basic service with community waste development includes a polycart for recycles, recycling is convenient. Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm satisfied with recycling procedures. I don't have a problem with that. I'm satisfied with weekly service. Yes, I agree. It adds room for non-recyclable waste in the trash polycart. Sure, it helps reduce landfills. That's just not true. What we're learning is that most of the recycling today is really not being recycled. I know I'm a conservative. I listen to Rush Limbaugh. I listen to Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder. I realize that I'm probably one of those nuts that people talk about like them because I'm so conservative. But I don't think that the recycling is actually doing what they say it's supposed to do. It helps preserve resources. I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just saying I don't know. Okay. The lid avoids potential problems of debris being scattered. No, that's just, unless that lid can lock, come down Quail Creek on a windy day, man, let me count the ways. Based on community waste disposal recycling guidelines, I recycle. We recycle we put it in the bags, the wax coated paper containers. I'm not sure about that. Glass bottle containers, yes. Paper, strongly agree. Yes. Corrugated, yes. Aluminum, steel, tin containers, yes. Plastic containers, yes. Or I do not recycle. Disagree. No, we do. We participate. The Community Waste Disposal will host an extreme green event at McLennan Chisholm City Hall on Saturday, June 8th, 2019. It is a one-stop place to dispose of household hazardous waste, automotive tires, used electronics, household metal goods, and confidential document shredding. How likely? Wow. Okay, see, I didn't know this. I learned something here. This is something we used to do with the county, and we had to pay for everyone who wanted from McClellan who wanted to use that. We had to actually give a coupon, and the city was then charged for everyone who did this. So as part of this the contract, we're getting this for free. So I will say I'm impressed. I did not know that this was happening. So I said again. I apologize. Household hazardous waste, yes. Automotive tires, I don't have any. So probably no. Used electronics, yes. Household metal goods, yes. Documents to shred, oh yes, absolutely. Boy, that's nice to not have to pay for that service. So, oops, I said it again. Thanks for this service for the hazardous waste day service for the. All right.
I'm sorry.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay. McClellan Chisholm Fire Rescue Service takes great pride in serving our community, and we are constantly seeking ways to improve our performance. To assist us, we ask that you evaluate the level of our service. Do you agree that the City Council decision to integrate McClellan Chisholm Volunteer Fire Department into the MCFR Fire Rescue Service? Yes, I do. Wow, accountability is a wonderful thing, and not having people take advantage of our tax dollars is wonderful. What best describes the type of service, if any, you have received from the MCVFR? I haven't received any so far, thank goodness. Pray that I never will. So I'll say not applicable or no services. So we are almost done, by the way. This is let's see what percentage we have gone through. How political is this, by the way? How political is this? This is driving you to answer a certain way, is it? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? All right, to help us improve McClellan Chisholm Fire Rescue Services, please answer the following questions: professionalism and service. I haven't seen the guys, so I really can't answer that. I'm just going to say satisfactory. How do I? Again, you should be able to opt out if you're not seeing any of this. Personnel answer your questions, courteous and helpful, or they should have a not applicable in NA. Okay, so I guess I don't know. Overall quality of service rendered, public education on fire. So just put satisfactory if you don't have an answer. Don't put unsatisfactory because you can't. Okay, they're asking for praise reports, that kind of thing, for some more specifics, which you can add into the comments section. So, again, how political is this? Is this driving you to answer a certain way? All right, this is the end of the survey, by the way. For the purpose of this survey, results will be provided to MC50 committee to weigh in on activities for upcoming celebration of the city's 50th anniversary. Thank you, Adrienne Balcom, by the way, for leading the way. She talked to me about this when she first got in office. She said, I want us to have a great celebration for 50-year anniversary for the city. And I was like, well, fantastic. And so Adrienne Balcom does amazing stuff. And the fact that she wants to take that on is fantastic. If you're interested in attending the 50th anniversary, please select below the ideas suggested or write in some ideas to be considered. What a great idea. Let's see, air show. Oh, I'd love to see an air show. Okay. Cake and punch reception? No. Community vendors, cowboy poetry? I'd love to see that. Craft show? Yes. Food tasting event? Sure. Rodeo barrel racing? 5K run? Heck no. I don't run right now unless somebody's chasing me. Barbecue showdown? I'd love to see that, actually. Commemorative book celebrating 50 years? Not really. concert. I mean, maybe at 100 years, that'd be a good time to do. I would say, well, you know what? I'll take that back. I would love to interview people like the Levels and the Klutz family, and people who have been here for ages. I would like to hear some of their stories. So I think maybe a video would be better. Okay, so a video. Concert under the stars? No. Cow patty? No. Fireworks show? Sure. Food trucks? Sure. Parade with floats? Nah. Where are we gonna parade? I mean, where? It doesn't make sense. Tractor races for adults and kids. Oh, I guess. I don't know. Here's the end of the survey. What questions did we fail to ask, or what else would you like the city council to consider as it plans the future of McLennan Chisholm? Very comprehensive. All right. Oh, you know what? I didn't put my name on that other comment. So I'm trying to do this. Very comprehensive is what I will say. Very comprehensive. Final thanks for the great job you did in putting this survey together without my help. Because I'm not an elected official anymore. It's not my job. You guys did an amazing job. Put my name on both of them so that they could see this. You may request a copy of the survey results by selecting the email opt-in link. Folks, I hope that this showed you that that all of the bluster about this being somehow politically motivated is the political motivation is coming from one source and one source only, and that is the liberal left in our city. The Lorna Kippets, the Trudy Wassners, the William Dahls, and of course, Mayor Short, Councilmember Larkin and Bloom, former Mayor Mike Donegan, Gary Mooney, and of course, we can't forget the puppet master himself, Mark Kippet. So, folks, if you're buying into this lie that this is somehow a devious plot to try to push your opinion one way or another, did you do this along with me? Did you follow through it? Look, you've got one of these in the mail. Fill it out. Don't be stupid. Here's my you can't fix stupid segment. It's everyone who says, I'm not going to take this survey because I think it's politically motivated.